What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the A7E podcast. This is your host, Gutierrez. Guys, today it is Saturday, May 7th, and we are on episode 23, I believe. So we're getting up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy the episode as much as I know that I'm going to enjoy it. I have somebody here that's pretty interesting. I would say it's the other version of the previous episode that I've done with Grecia, LittleBuffChick. Yeah, man. So if you don't mind, if you're doing us the honors of introducing yourself.
Yes, my name's Gutierrez. I'm Grecia's husband, and it's funny how you say that. You know, the other version, because me and her are pretty much the opposite. You know, but opposites attract, and it's a good marriage because of that. My personalities are very different than hers, so it's kind of interesting, our relationship. Yeah.
What do you think well, first of all, man, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, I know that we were supposed to schedule for last week, and I was like, hey, I'm going to hit you up during the week, and I didn't even get back to you towards, was it yesterday? Thursday, maybe?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's like I was telling you outside, I just picked up a new job. I'm 2 months in, and I do coaching, like soccer coaching after that. So it's just so difficult. It's not impossible. It's just difficult.
Right.
But I'm starting to realize that Saturdays are probably my most reliable days, unless I get a cancellation from my coaching job during the week. Then I'll try and take advantage. But nonetheless, thank you for being patient and coming out.
Yeah, of course.
Now, what do you mean? You guys are totally opposite, right? You say the opposites attract, right? I got a glimpse of Grecia's personality and her mindset, and it's pretty awesome. So what would you say is opposite from you?
Opposite, I wouldn't necessarily say she's a complete extrovert. She's kind of introvert, but I'm like an extreme introvert.
Extreme introvert?
Yes. Oh. So if people see me around in the gym, as a common place you're going to see me, I'm very to myself, very quiet, but you may look at me and say, man, that guy's, he's training, he's focused, he's serious, which I am, but as soon as I take off my headphones to talk to somebody, you see a smile come out of me, and I'm a totally different person, right? Because I'm there when I'm in the gym. It's like a job, it serves a purpose in what I'm doing. And so I'm a very, very quiet person. I've always been like that ever since I was little. And like I said, Grecia, she has different personality traits about her, and that are not like my personality traits. Yeah. My character is much different. I wouldn't say that, there's positives, negatives.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, I know the positives. No, I'm not going to say that. But we have a very good equal balance of all our traits that work together. It's kind of unique.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Roosevelt was also on the podcast as well. Right. And I feel like he's an extreme extrovert.
I think so too.
Right.
From the little that I was doing.
Yeah. And he's also my training partner. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of different. Mm-hmm. I train a certain way, he trains a certain way. For me, there's not a lot of things that bother me. That's one of my great personality traits, is that I'm very calm and collective. Mm-hmm. Things don't bother me. I have a thing that's like patience.
Yeah.
I describe patience as, the definition, the description of patience is being able to wait on a delay without getting angry.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't see it like that. Me personally, I see it as being able to wait on a delay without losing my peace.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to mess with my peace, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going to allow that to happen, because I get to choose where my energy is going. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things that happen around us that will affect us in a negative way if we let it.
Right.
And I'm very good. I'm blessed. God's made me that way.
Yeah.
And that's where I say we're Grecia and Roosevelt, the brother and sister. And I think they let things get to them a little bit.
Are they similar in that aspect?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. So I'm like the guy that's calm and like, hey, well, think about it this way. The positive way, right? Yeah. So those are just some things right there. Yeah.
Actually, the way you describe yourself is, I think it's very similar to myself as well. In like most of the groups, but I think the biggest maybe the difference between what you said is like I actually have similar people around me that are like me, right? So, which actually I enjoy it, but I definitely understand what you mean in regards to like when things go down, or just like when people are in certain situations, like, hey, look at it this way, trying to be the positive aspect of it. I do, and I have been very conscious, maybe in the last year or two, to be very aware of my peace, right, and not just keeping myself from getting angry or feeling negative, but really focusing on myself or focusing on feeling peace, right? So I think there's a little difference there between, not trying to get angry, but really focusing on keeping the peace.
Right.
So, yeah, that's interesting. So far, those opposites have worked. Now, if you don't mind me asking, why do you think it works the most? Because I think it takes somebody of your like personality traits to be able to make that type of opposites work. Do you think that's what that's what it is, or what do you think the biggest reason is, besides love, of course, like that you guys are able to make it work?
Well, I think the answer to that, on a basic understanding of that, is that's just the way God made it for us. He put us together for that reason. A lot of things that happen in our life, I got to give God the glory. And everything that happens, let's say, for example, the turn of events and why things happen, I always turn back to God as, what is he doing? What is he showing me? What is he trying to teach us? So I know it's all because of him. So when we come together, me and her, it's like, we have that balancing act of, she shares things with me in her certain way. I share things with her in my certain way, right? And she gives me feedback in her way, right? Because like I'm one directional with being an introvert, right? And she shares it. It goes back and forth.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a taste. So we have to be a listener. I have to listen to what she's saying and the feedback that she's giving me. And the same thing, she listens to me. She respects me and the feedback that I give her sometimes, hey, look at it this way, look at it that way. So that's where it kind of works really good together,
Yeah. Okay. So I think, that makes sense, being able to actually, first of all, listen, but feel that you can speak, in a relationship, and that your input or expression is being valued, and then, feedback back and forth respectfully. I think maybe regardless of like personality traits can work for the most part.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Cool, man. So how long, I've actually, I've seen you in the gym a couple times when I used to go in the morning at like, I think I was going like at 6:30. I haven't done that probably for 3 weeks now, but, or a little over a month, but yeah, I seen you a couple times and I was like, man, this guy's solid. Like he's working, right? And you have your hat on and everything, just like you do here. But I think you had like a hoodie on too, maybe not.
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Times.
And I was like, dang, this guy, so how long have you been, taking it seriously? Because it seems, you've been working out for a long time.
Yeah. So when I first started training, getting serious about it, I think Grecia mentioned a little bit about when she first started and she was in high school and stuff like that. Well, when I met her, she was in high school, and I went to one of her meets, powerlifting meets, right? And I'm this skinny guy.
So you were skinny back then?
I was really skinny.
Yeah, I went on your Instagram, but I don't think you have any skinny pictures of you.
No.
Okay.
I think there's a couple like way back in Facebook.
Oh, okay.
I think I have a skinny picture, even a transformation back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a really skinny guy, and I went to her meet, and she's powerlifting, she's squatting, and I'm seeing all these other guys, and I'm like, man, these guys are strong, and then I'm looking at myself like, I got to get to the gym or something, And so it's funny because a lot of people ask me, did you play football back then and stuff like that? And yeah, I take it as a compliment, because in bodybuilding, you're always training to accomplish a goal, whether it's getting bigger, getting leaner, and you'll never accomplish that goal. It's just the fact. Like, you're just always wanting more. But I don't see myself obviously the way people see me. Okay. Because like to this day, like I'm still small.
No way.
And I know a lot of bodybuilders have that same
perspective
of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, yes, compared to the average person, you know, they know they look in shape and stuff like that. But when it gets to a point like now that we're competing in competition, I guess it doesn't overtake you.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming for some people that are very, very competitive and prideful. But I'm not like that, right? So I just want to be the best that I can be. But looking at yourself every day in the mirror, you're not seeing the
actual
changes that everybody else is seeing when they seen you. Like, oh, I saw you 2 weeks ago, and now you're looking like this, or a month ago, right? So when I first started training, I go back to that subject, that question. I asked her brother. Her brother was Roosevelt.
Okay.
And I was barely dating her at the time. This was back in 2011, I believe, 2010. And I told him, I said, hey, you're about to graduate. Like, let's start training. Let's go to the gym. And he's like, yeah, I'm down for it. He was already working out because he was in football. Okay. I said, yeah, I got to get in shape. So that's when it all started. And I remember how serious I got into it.
Like right away?
Right. And my thing back then was I was a huge stoner, pothead.
Yeah.
And that's all I did back at that time when I was ending my high school years.
Okay.
And I feel like the transition, or, you know, God saving me from all that, and then him giving me bodybuilding.
Okay.
You know, because even though there's a turn of events, you know, because I'm dating Grecia and, hey, I want to look good now. I gave that up and I started doing bodybuilding. So bodybuilding became like an addiction for me at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that much. I was looking up online, you know, bodybuilding.com.
The beginner's route.
Yes. Yeah. You know, the beginner's routines and stuff like that. So I was the basics. Yeah. And I'm glad I took that route because there's so much advice out there. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that I've learned over the years. But if I'm going to start training somebody, you know, first things, the basics, right? 100%. Understanding how to feel the muscle, how to, the proper reps, what rep range and all that stuff. So I took that route. I did it for a few years, let's say 2-3 years. And I was kind of like strict dieting. I was eating like every 2 hours. I really was. But it was like chicken breast, a cup of rice, broccoli, every single meal. And I wasn't really seeing much changes because it's more than that, you know. Okay. I wasn't counting my calories or anything like that. And I was really, really skinny.
All right.
So I didn't understand that, hey, I need to bulk up a little bit, you know. And after about 3 years of that, I said, man, like, I've been wasting my time. Like, I need to eat more.
Right.
So not only I was training good, I was learning how to train. And then I started understanding the amount of calories, the macronutrients. I started learning all that, right? I'd say that was 2011 to maybe 2015, 16. I started working in refineries.
Okay.
So when I started working in refineries, I still wanted to push it in the gym, which I did. It was hard, but it wasn't obviously as serious.
Of course.
I had to just eat whatever I could. It was hard, you know, and moving forward to now, I came home from working in the refineries after 6 years. This was 2 years ago.
So fairly recent.
Yes. Okay. And I started working in a solar company with solar panels. And my first thing was, hey, the work ethic that I put out there in the refineries and that sacrifice, that same energy, I'm going to put it into this. It's something new.
Yeah.
But it's something that God confirmed to me so many times. Mm-hmm. And because of the fact that he confirmed it to me so many times, I knew that he was with me. I knew because it's something totally new. Mm-hmm. I was used to working with my hands out in the field. And then now I got to do sales pitches at the door, right? And I said, oh, it's fine. Like, I'm still going to put my work ethic into it. And sure enough, within 3 months of working with that company, I became a manager in that company.
In 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think in 6 months, I became a head manager. So I was in a top position. It's crazy because for 2 months, I became the number one rep in the whole company.
Really?
Yeah. And like I said, I give God the glory because whenever he confirms something that if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a house, if you're looking for whatever it is, right? And you're praying to him and he confirms it, I mean, that's your cue to jump in faith.
Almost like you can't fail.
Right, exactly. And knowing that he's with you. And that's just the beginning, because you got to go through that journey, that process, right? Because there's going to be some mishaps here and there. But, you know, having that peace, having that confirmation from him, like, this is what he has you doing, you can do it wholeheartedly, right? And, well, what I was going to bring about becoming a head manager in that company, I was making good money, a lot of money, but it was my eating habits. I was eating out every day, crazy.
Well, it's because, I mean, so in that position, did it require you to be like on the road a lot, kind of?
Yes.
Okay.
Always on the road, because we were going house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, and we would just pick up tacos here, tacos there, a whole lot of tacos, you know. So I got out of shape. I had never been in that type of shape before, and I had stopped going to the gym. I would go every now and then, like Planet Fitness, and my brother-in-law, well, Roosevelt, he was gonna do a competition, and I told myself, I said, man, like, I need to get back to it. You know, that was my training partner for so long. Like,
oh, that's right.
I need to get back to it. So I found out who his coach was, and I said, you know what, like, let's just get on a diet. And my wife, she wanted to compete. She's like, you know what, I want to do it again. She had competed once already in 2017. And I said, I just want to diet. I just want to get in shape. I used to count the macronutrients and all that. I just want somebody to do it for me now.
There you go.
And that turned into 3 months of a really good diet. I got in shape. I started seeing myself, and I was like, okay, so when's this competition?
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law had told me, he said, hey, you should compete. You know, you try doing it. Just give it a try. And at first I was like, no, like, I don't want to be in part of the competition, because I know bodybuilding is a very selfish sport.
Okay.
It is. And we have an 8-year-old son, you know, we have our family, and it's like bodybuilding can definitely get in the way. Because I remember when I first started back in 2012, 13, those years, it was new to me. So right away I felt, I can't do that, or I can't go over there. I can't, you know, because I got to go to the gym at that time. Or I can't do that. I have to eat a meal at that time. So I was trying to be so on point with everything that it was taking over my life. And it should be a hobby, not a lifestyle, right? Unless you're competing for a reason, right? You know, in competition, you want to become a pro or become successful in bodybuilding. You know, now I see it in a different way. But at first, when I was being not pressured, but influenced to compete by my brother-in-law, even my wife mentioned it to me. Yeah, give it a try. I had a negative thing in my mind, and that was kind of the red flag, because I usually have positive things in my mind.
Okay, good point.
So the negative was, it's a selfish sport. I know a lot of people that compete in bodybuilding and stuff like that, like, they frown upon people that don't want to get in shape. You know, there's a lot of that, and I'm not for that. You know, somebody doesn't want to get in shape, you know, that's their life, right? Everybody's different. It wasn't until one day that I was talking to a friend of mine at the gym, and he was telling me about competing, and I was like, you know what, I don't know. I feel like it's a group of people that they have a different view of bodybuilding than I do. And something hit me right away. And I think what hit me was, it was God. Like, the Holy Spirit was telling me, remember when I brought you to that company that you're working with, the solar company? Because when I walked through those doors and I started working with that company the first day, I noticed that all the people around, I mean, it wasn't a good group. I noticed that they were all money hungry people.
Okay.
And their focus was just that money, right? And I asked the question, God, I know you brought me here, but why? And I had to think about it. And it's not that he gave me an answer, but it was more of the common sense of knowing what God wanted to do with me. And that was if you can be a light in a dark place, that's why I'm going to put you there. So that little revelation was hit when I was talking to that guy at the gym about competing.
Like that moment?
That moment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was like, whoa, something just hit me. And I just realized something. And I said, if I can do it for God's glory and compete, knowing that it's a selfish sport, but still do it anyway and give it all I got, and see what happens, right? Then I'll do it. And he says, I want to put you in different places where you can shine your light, right? And because of that, it was like a confirmation that I wasn't even asking for,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay, let's do it, right? And that's what started me in, competing. So I've competed once already, which was last September. And now I'm getting ready for another competition. Yeah.
Damn. So what's cool about that is like you mentioned or how your, your take on bodybuilding at that time was a very selfish sport, right? So you decided to do a very selfish sport, but for a very selfless reason. So I thought that's pretty cool there. That's so interesting, man. But so do you enjoy it? Like, you know what I mean? Because I know, everybody's depending on what it is, whether it be soccer, basketball, whatever it is, some people's take on that same sport can be a hobby, a lifestyle, a job, or therapeutical. How is it for you, right? Because I, just kind of listening to you speak, you've had like one or two different takes on it, right? A job and then what was the other one? A hobby. But how do you view it now? Like, how is it for you now?
Yeah. So now it's different because at the beginning I said now it's like a job because it wasn't like that at first because of the way I saw it at first. And the reason why I take it so serious now to this point is because I currently still work with a solar company, right? But there's a lot of time and energy that I've been putting into the gym, into the competition. And I've noticed how in my wife's life, the jobs that she's had, I feel like God has always led her back to being a personal trainer because we put our heart and soul into our training and how we train and all those things. And we've been doing it for over 10 years now. And I've always been very hesitant to like actually train somebody or give advice. Or
Why?
The reason why is because I feel like not that I don't know enough, because in all honesty, I feel like I truly do know a lot about bodybuilding and the way the body is and food and nutrition and all that. The reason why is because when I first started back then, I've been on YouTube ever since. Okay. YouTube is my television.
Yeah.
And I'm influenced by a lot of pro bodybuilders, and I've been watching them for years now. And so much training techniques, nutrition, all that advice, it's what I've obtained, right? And earlier I mentioned like I'm a calm, collective guy, right? Well, people will see the calm about that, but what about the collective? This guy knows something, right? And the thing is, sometimes I hold back from being very open about the things that I know and stuff like that. Not that I want to hold it to myself, but because I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
If people ask me questions, boom, I just open up, right? But now I've noticed how it's kind of becoming a dream of ours, me and my wife, to become personal trainers, have a gym one day, have a goal of something like that, right? I've always thought like, man, that would be awesome, but is that really for me? There was even a time when I was working in refineries and my wife, she was doing personal training, and I was thinking about becoming a personal trainer or taking that route. And I said, you know what? There's not money in it. There's this and that. I was being negative, Now it's a different perspective because I know if God leads me wherever he's leading me, he's involved. It doesn't matter about the money, right? It doesn't matter about all that. He's always going to provide, which he always has, And one thing that I've learned from my dad, he told me one time, he's like, over all the years, I worried and worried and worried. He's a worrier, but I'm kind of the opposite. It's kind of weird because I don't worry about things at all. Very calm. People say you just don't care about anything. No, that's not it. Just I know how to source my energy and my focus points, right? And he told me, he said, all those times of worrying about how I'm going to pay the bills, paying the bills. They always got paid, right? And that stuck with me. It's because there's times where I've had a lot of money, no money, in between, right? But I know where my faith stands in the Lord, and I know He's going to provide no matter what. And I'm always going to have a knowledge of Him in my life and where He's taking me. And recently, I feel like He's putting us in that path of becoming, personal trainers, or one day having a goal of having our own gym and things like that. So my thing is, yes, I have all this knowledge. Yes, I know all these things. But if I can, what's obvious is that putting myself on stage, obviously I have my own personal coach, right? But putting myself on that stage, people see that. Well, you can have a coach, but you still got to put in that work.
100%.
With that guy, he's putting in work, right? And he knows how to put in the work. It's a different part of the challenge rather than just somebody giving you advice, a plan. Is how to apply that work, that work ethic in the gym. That's something that I know how to do, because throughout the day, it's like I'm a very calm person, controlled energy. But when it's gym time, I'm there to train. And because of all that, I feel like I can become a good bodybuilder, right? I've seen the way I've changed from the first competition, because I didn't have an off season to grow and grow and grow. This was just muscle that I was obtaining over the years, I guess. Like I said, in refineries, it slowed down a lot of me building muscle. But getting on that diet 2 years ago, well, actually, it was about a year and a half ago, started my transformation. And then competing, I didn't prep as off-season bodybuilding and, putting on muscle. So what was on stage was just all the fat peeled off, of this. But I didn't really get to work hard and have an off-season and prepare for something, right? It's an art. It really is. Bodybuilding is an art. And I've had that chance this past off-season. It's not a long off-season, but I've had that chance to do it. And now that I'm on prep and getting ready for another competition, I'm seeing the changes. And I'm surprising myself. Okay. I'm the type of guy, I'm not going to be in a gym with my shirt off and posing in a mirror in front of everybody. It's one of my pet peeves, honestly.
Oh, is it?
It does. Not a lot of things bother me.
That's true.
But the funniest thing here is my training partner does that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yeah. So, but those things don't bother me in the gym. Just a little bit, here and there. But I focus on doing what I'm doing. But anyways, all this leading up to, seeing myself on stage, giving the best that I can, right? Really preparing myself for it. People are going to see the hard work. People are going to see, that's why that guy's, head's always down, focused, because he's doing it for a purpose. And if it's going to contribute to me and my wife's business, I'm putting my whole heart, my whole soul into what I'm doing, and that's bodybuilding right now.
Yeah. Damn, man, that's amazing. That's exactly what I was thinking about when you mentioned, people with their shirt out. Because, Roosevelt looks solid, too.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of circle back a little bit to the introvert part, right? When you mentioned that, you feel and you're confident that you have all this knowledge that you can share and do good at, what it is that you would like to do. And I think you're 100% correct, right? And I think a lot of people do struggle with that same, characteristics of being an introvert. Even me, a lot of people don't, because I'm in sales too. So, and I would like to talk a little bit about that later, but I mostly got into sales, and mostly besides, the obvious of doing the podcast to be able to hear people's stories and have other people listen, was because I didn't want to be an introvert anymore, right? And I know that's something that someone is, but I feel like that's something that someone can work on, right? And sorry, I was running for the water, so I was tired. So when I realized that, I come from a soccer background, right? I played soccer since I was 4 years old. I got ridiculously elite training whenever I was 20, with one of the best trainers in Texas, then in Austin. And I reached a level of ability that I had never touched and reached in my life. And also with that came the knowledge of it. And so I at one point had all of this knowledge and just talking about soccer specific at the moment, I felt I was at a point that I wanted to be able to share that too. But then when it got to the point to wanting to share that, I always felt like just like shelled in for whatever reason, but I knew I would be really good at it. Until I was like, well, I mean, there's no other way to share your knowledge other than sharing your knowledge, right? There's no in between. So it's like, then I thought to myself, okay, well, how can I be better at sharing my knowledge? How can I stop being like so introverted myself? And the only obvious answer is stop being so introverted yourself. Like, go and speak to people you don't know. You know what it feels like to be an introvert. Try to do the opposite, right? That's what I was telling myself. And it's worked. It's worked. Like now, like whenever I speak to people, like even you coming here, or, when I'm making my phone calls or I'm meeting random people, it's like my first instinct is like, no, I don't want to, like introvert, right? But then it's like, you can't have a potential powerful conversation unless you have a conversation.
That's right.
And at the bare minimum, or you can't affect anybody's life in any manner unless you get out of your shell and go and have a conversation.
That's right.
So it's just so interesting to hear you say that, because I mean, most people that I talk to are extroverts. So it's like seeing that type of person in front of me and speaking to them, it's like, I'm always like, man, I wish I was like that person, It's like, I wish it was easier for me to speak and to meet random people, or to share things that I know that I'm good at, but self-conscious about what they might think of it. So I kind of just admire people who see themselves as like extrovert, and they know they like to talk a lot. They like to, they're here and there. And I'm like, man, that's awesome. But if you're an introvert, I am, it takes work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it does take work.
Yeah, that's right. It's crazy that you say those things, because, seeing some of your podcasts, hearing you talk in there, I've told myself, like, you know what, I respect him because I feel like he's an introvert as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's doing a podcast, he gets to talk to people, he gets to ask questions, and he gets to, listen to people that come on the show, right? And I said, man, I respect that, because, I see myself a little bit in you, and you're doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? You talked about in a new job and trying to fit in the schedule of doing what you do, right? And the fact that you're still doing it, it's awesome, right? Because you're doing it because you love it. And that's awesome. So I've noticed that already.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of crazy, because like we're talking about me working in sales.
Yeah.
Totally not an introvert job.
Exactly.
Right? You got to be extrovert to do something like that, or even want to do it. But the fact that God led me to it, he's the one that knows exactly what he's doing, right? He's the author of your life. And he broke me out of that shell. Not that I was a very quiet person, or I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I never had no problems talking to anybody. Whether it's doing a favor for somebody, or saying hi here and there. Just at the gym, that's, like I said, because when I'm there, I'm there for a purpose.
Yeah.
Once the headphones go on, like, I will notice everybody in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it's as if I have eyes in the back of my head.
Yeah.
But if you see me in the gym, you're commonly see me, you're gonna think, man, that guy never sees anybody. Like, he doesn't look at anybody. I don't think he notices anything, but I do.
Yeah.
I see everything. It's crazy. But having that said, it's like, even if I know you, it's not that I'm trying to avoid you.
Okay, you're focused.
Yes, I'm
That's all it
focused.
is.
I do
Nothing personal, just business.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Nothing personal. But if I'm already done with my workout, like, I'll pass by and my head's up now.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, and this and that, but when I'm in the gym, I'm focused. But other than that, on the daily and the usual, I don't mind saying hi to people, being a friendly person, even though, like, I would say I'm an introvert person, but yeah, that's that. It's not overpowering. Like, I can talk to people and stuff like that, so there's nothing like too hard
crazy.
for me.
Okay.
Right?
So how you guys look? So you're currently training people.
Yes.
Okay. How has that journey been for you you've been coached, you've worked on your own. Now you're, helping people. Like, how has that journey been for you? And like, what are your plans for that? Is that something that, you're currently enjoying and you're thinking long term? I know you mentioned, the plans that you and Grecia might have of opening a gym. And first of all, I think it's phenomenal what you guys are doing as a couple, right? Like, being married and having a kid, and I don't know, right? I don't have a baby yet, but I'm sure it's not easy because you also have like, responsibilities, for your son, right?
Right.
And you guys have a plan of just like going on this journey together, like you and Grecia. Is that something you're set on? How does that look for you? Is there any other interest that you have that you've imagined yourself doing, right? Because I usually like to get people's like insight in their plans. I've met people who are so laser focused and they know what it is and what they want from here until essentially they die, And I've met people which are like me, and I don't think it's a good thing that I have, and I like so many things. I'm so interested in a lot of things, so I'm like, I get this shiny object syndrome, and that's like every time I see something new and cool, I'm like over here, right? But there's certain things now that I'm working on that I'm like trying to narrow my focus on for the rest of my journey. How does that look like for you?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm kind of similar in not that the shiny object syndrome, not to that extent, but I've always, but because I'm common collective, right? I'm always analyzing things like, oh, what could happen if I do this? What if I do this? What if I do that? Right? Because since I started the sales, now it's like you're an entrepreneur. You get to make your own income, do your own thing, right? And that's honestly what personal training is. We're making our own income and things like that. So you look at different options. What could come about? What could you possibly do around what you're already doing, right? Multiple incomes. So I've looked at a lot of things before, but I'm always led back to, what has God put in front of me? What is He doing? Things have to go through Him first because I need that confirmation. So that way I can do it wholeheartedly. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that will, let's try this, let's try that. That's not a bad thing because you don't know if you'll be good at it or successful at it unless you try it, right? So that's not a bad thing, just to try new things out, right? Unless it's something that just, it's a jump of faith because it totally takes all of your time. Yeah. That's a little different, but for me, it's like, that's the purpose of why I'm going to pray about things. Yeah. But it's good to have your options of what to do. But for us, like I said, with Grecia, she's always been led back to training people. Yeah. It's a passion that she has, and it's definitely a passion that I have. I mean, the clients that I have right now, when I'm training with them and I'm talking to them, me and Grecia are the same, because we've trained together. We want to be able to, it's just so much more than just working out and getting in shape. Yeah. It's because we've seen a lot of people, even people that are being trained by other people, like the way they train them, they're just going through the motions, My thing is, when I first started, like I said, those first 3 years of training, I was just going through the motions. Well, because I was young in the game, Okay. And when people start paying you for personal training, right, they want to get the most out of it 100%. Because they're putting their money into it. It's an 100%. Investment, So with all the mistakes and all the things that I've learned over the years in how to engage the muscle, how to feel it when you're training, the weight, the number is just a number. The muscle doesn't know the number. It just knows stress, So if we can cause as much stress to the muscle without, being a big number, that's what it's all about. Because you get people that are in shape already, they're kind of strong already, but it looks impressive, and it becomes an ego thing that they start training a certain way that they stop developing the way they're supposed to, and that'll never change for us. If anything, we lighten up the weight even more, putting more stress on the muscle, feeling it in a way that we've never felt it before. We're always looking for that next level, of intensity. Intensity doesn't mean stronger. It means more focus on the muscle, mind-muscle connection, and that engaging the muscle, right? So those are things that we teach people at the very beginning, and how to feel the muscle. That's very good because of the fact that it keeps a lot of people out of danger.
True.
Right? Because if you're trying to push weight and stuff like that, and you're not doing it correctly, I mean, you can possibly get injured.
Yeah.
So that's another thing why we love what we do. I think we do it at a very, very high level when it comes to training people. But because we've seen over the years, different trainers training people, the way they train them, the outcome, the results, right? And not that we're trying to compare ourselves to anybody else, but the results speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And we want to get the most for our clients as much as possible. We really care and love what we do in that aspect.
Man, that's awesome. That's so cool, man. I've always, had a massive interest, obviously. I come from a soccer background, so, fitness has always been, like, important to me. That's so cool. So I got a question for you. Well, actually, I'll save this question for a little bit later, if you don't mind me asking. So you've been doing solar how long? 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. It's been 2 years.
Okay. And how are you liking that? Like, how is it for you? Obviously, you've done it for 2 years. I'm sure it's, pretty, good income. Like, how is it for you, though? Like, I guess, like, emotionally, if that makes sense. Like, do you enjoy it? Is it work? And it's fine either way. Like, how is it for you?
Yeah. So at the beginning, when I first started, going back to when I first started and, God confirming that for me, I went into the office there to learn, what's going on. It's like, hey, this is new. I got to learn as fast as possible, right? So I go in there and I hear a basic understanding of what solar is all about, basically converting what you're paying rent to the electricity company, but now paying for something that belongs to you, at a fixed rate. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Do they really work though? So, so doing that research and understanding of, hey, they've been around for a long time, all this stuff, this is not something phony. This is something that's real. I said, okay, awesome, right? Why would God lead me into something that doesn't work, right? And it wasn't just one confirmation from him that this is what I want you to do. It was several. So I knew it was something good. My first customer was my parents. They've had no problems. They've been good. And because of that, I just took off from there. I had nobody at the beginning, a manager, take me by the hand and, hey, let's go door to door. I'm going to teach you how to do this, 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 and this. Basically, it was me understanding what I needed to tell a homeowner at the door and just go with that. So I was like, that's all I had, and I just went knocking doors by myself. I wouldn't say by myself. I would say God was with me, and that's why I became successful. Was because of him. Because I got so many no's. In sales, you get so many no's. How many
you think?
Oh man, you get so many no's. People telling you so bad things. Like, man, that stuff don't work. Like, you need to get a real job, right? But the fact that I'm very good at not letting things take my peace.
Yeah.
I was good.
Yeah.
I was, okay, let's go to the next customer. Let's go to the next house, the next house, the next house. And it takes a lot of doors. If you're doing door-to-door sales, you got to go through your doors. Go through all your doors, your neighborhood, and don't let nothing bother you. You're going to get the no's. If it takes 100 no's to get one yes, you understand that you're going out there to get 100 doors to get that one yes. Yeah. So don't be surprised if the 10th door says, or 10 doors down and it's no, right? Yeah. It's fine. But I think that's what helped me out the most. I didn't give up at that. And sitting down in people's homes and speaking to them about how this all works, that had to come out of me. Not only that, but I was able to share testimony, as a Christian. It's a calling of ours that, we got to preach the gospel and share our testimony. The Bible says in Revelation that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So I was able to give a little testimony of myself, where I came from, what I was doing in the company and how it all worked, and not only that, but as a testimony that my parents had the solar panels as well, and it's working great for them, so I was able to share with homeowners, I truly believe in this.
Yeah.
And the fact,
you being sincere about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So doing all those things and being able to talk to so many people, that's what I really loved about it, is meeting new people. I got to meet new people, sit in their homes, welcome in their home. So I really enjoyed that. This past year, it slowed down for me. I would say because of bodybuilding, but I know God has a purpose in it all. Why bodybuilding's got so much more serious for me when I never thought it would. Because people can see a normal bodybuilder and say, oh, that they love that because they look good. They want to look good. I don't really care to look good. That's the honest truth. I'm always covered up. If anything, when you see me in a gym with a tank on, and it's because I'm sweating so much and my skin, like I don't have normal skin. I have like that chicken skin, they call it.
Chicken skin?
Yeah. It's, I don't know what it's really called. But like I'll break out more than usual, more than usual people. And so that's why, but that's not why I'm always covered up. I'm always covered up because I guess it's like there's a lot of bodybuilders that I look up to, like old school bodybuilders, like Dorian Yates. So Dorian Yates, his style of bodybuilding was, I'm going to be covered up for as long as I can. And when I'm ready to show what I have, it's going to be on stage, So I do, here and there on Instagram, physique updates and stuff like that. Even though my coach, he's one of those guys that's like, hey, don't post nothing until the show. Like let's keep it a secret. I like that. I do. So when I post things, it's intentional. It's fasted. I'm fasted in the morning because you're going to look different, fasted. And then when you have carbs in your body, so I'll post pictures fasted and stuff like that because, oh man, he looks good. But, I'm going to look so much better on stage. So, but that's basically the way I am when it comes to that. So yeah.
So give me so I've recently heard about, to circle back to, the solar. Because I am interested. Can you give like a brief reason, maybe not reason. I don't want to say sales pitch either because you don't have to do this, but like why solar over like what everybody's doing, and why not a quicker adoption by like, the general public, if that makes sense.
You're talking like as career wise?
No. Like for example, for solar as a service, like what are like the biggest benefits, I guess, like solar panels, right?
Yeah.
Over like, essentially what we got, like regular electricity, like that we're, paying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what's my take on how it works and how it's beneficial, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, inflation is the biggest thing that we see going on right now.
Oh man.
Inflation.
Ridiculous.
Food's going up, gas, everything. We can't control that. It's a real thing.
They tell us, we buy it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's we have utilities, right? We got to pay for. So because of that, when let's say a homeowner decides to buy a house, they get a house, they get on a mortgage, right? They're no longer paying rent. Okay, the reason why is because they don't want to pay rent the rest of their life. They want to own something, right? Same thing as a vehicle. There's some people that lease vehicles, but for the majority, they finance to own them, right? They become theirs, the title holders. So with solar panels, you can now do that with your electricity, right? That's the biggest thing because I get a lot of people at the door that says, no, I'm not going to make an investment in solar panels and my electricity. My house is already paid off. I don't have to worry about no debt, nothing like that. And I said, but you're still paying for your electricity bill. That's never going to end. And it's only going to get more expensive, right? That's the reason why you got a mortgage and now it's paid off now because you don't have nothing else to pay no more, right? So it's the same thing with electricity. you can do the same. It's the same concept, right? So that's one of the most beneficial things is that, hey, well, at least I know where my money's going.
Yeah.
It's not going to the electric companies and making them rich.
Yeah.
It's going to something that belongs to me, right?
So the solar panels have like a I don't know if this is the right word, but like a fixed investment, like like a certain price, and then like when you pay it off, it's yours. You still have energy that powers your house,
That's correct.
and when you're done with that, you don't have to pay anymore for electricity.
That's correct.
Really?
That's right. See, that's when you're financing the solar panels,
Okay.
which is highly recommended, you know, because you become the owner, just like a vehicle,
Right.
you know, financing it to become mine. I'm on a fixed rate. You know, the car payment doesn't just go up because of inflation, right? Because you're on a fixed rate based on your credit, you know. And the good thing with solar panels is that all these finance companies, I mean, they're approving people at 1.9 interest rate, 2.9 interest rate. They're very, very low, right? So that's the good thing about it. There's companies out there that only lease panels. So if they're leasing the panels, you're still doing the same thing, right?
Right. So that's not recommended.
Right. You know, it is for a select group of people on different incomes, like retired people,
Okay.
you know, where they just, hey, I'll just pay the same thing every month, you know, and not have to worry about owning them, you know. But for somebody that owns the solar panels or you know, they finance to own, if they're going to move out as something like that, what the finance companies are now doing is they're making it transferable.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah. Because it's a big question. Is like, well, what if we move out? Like, I'm going to still be paying for it. No, the finance companies make it super, super easy, you know. So when you move out, you're just transferring that.
Yeah.
But as a homeowner, yes, it's true. You're going to have to do your own pitches. We have solar panels. There's still this amount left to pay for them, but this is what you're paying every month.
Yeah.
Compared to what we used to pay, it was much more, and it was just only getting more expensive. So it's a favor that we've already paid some of that amount off of the solar panels, right?
So I imagine there's like term options.
That's correct.
If you might like, what are like the maybe like top 2 term options? Is it like a car like 7, or is it like a house 15, 30, or like how is that?
Yeah. So basically like a house.
Yeah. Okay. Which makes sense.
Yes.
Because okay.
Yes. So if you were to do the numbers, right? If somebody averages $200 in rent, you know, and their electricity, that's the average. And you were to take that, let's say 25 years, okay? Because usually when you finance solar panels, that's the most popular, 25 years. People say, man, that's a long time to be in debt, you know, 25 years, you know, but it's the same thing as a house, you know. And the thing is, it says, okay, well, if I were to take your $200 right now, and if I were to multiply that by 300 months, 25 years, right? You're going to have this big, huge number, okay? That's without interest. I'm sorry, that's without inflation. Right? So if you add inflation, let's just say by 3%, which it's not at 3%, it's higher than that. You see a huge number. That is the easy pitch for solar sales reps for customers, right? That's their easy pitch is that, hey, you're going to save, you know, this amount of money. It's a big number, you know, because solar panels, you know, in all honesty, they can be 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. They can be that price. But I guarantee you it's going to be way less in the same term that they go for. It's going to be way less.
So solar panels, whatever you agree on, obviously with your interest rate, regardless of exterior variables like inflation, your fixed rate is your fixed rate.
That's right.
So tomorrow, like if let's say when you came in an agreement, I don't know, 30 years for whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless if you know tomorrow the government's like, hey, inflation's at like 15%, that's not gonna change for me.
That's right.
That's impressive.
That's right.
That's impressive.
Yes. Well, the thing is that, for example, there's a lot of homes that I wouldn't say qualify. There's a lot of homes that don't have a big roof space.
Yeah.
So they can only hold, let's say, 60% production from those solar panels.
Yeah.
You know, compared to the amount of kilowatts that they produce, right? Or that they have to pull. with the amount that fits on the roof, it's only going to cover 60%. So that 40% that they're going to have to continue to pay to the electric company, well, they cut it by 60%, from the 100%, right? I always said this. I said, would you rather rent 100% of your electricity for the rest of your life and deal with that inflation? Or would you rather own 60% and just deal with an inflation of 40%, right?
Okay.
So it's a win-win situation, even if a house doesn't fit as many solar panels. But the good news is that here in the RGV, most homes are able to cover at least 80%.
Okay.
Usually 100%. We're able to get them to 100%, so where they're totally covered. That's the good thing about that. But what I've noticed here in the RGV, there's been a lot of sales reps that'll just make a sale, just to make a sale, and they'll make it like 30% offset. Offset is that, it's the amount of production that you're going to get from the solar panels, right? So if I were to tell you, hey, you're averaging $200 right now, but your payment now is going to be $80 a month, you're like, wow, awesome. Okay, sign me up. Yeah. But little do they know in that contract that it's only covering 30% of their power.
Okay.
So they're thinking they're only going to pay $80. But in reality, they're paying $80 plus their electric bill.
For the 70%.
Yes, 70%. Exactly. So a lot of people have been tricked. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, let's call it what it is, man.
And in sales, it's gotten like that,
Yeah.
And I feel like because there is sales companies that are just sales. They're not an actual solar company. One of the first ones that I was with, it was an actual sales company. It took me a while to understand, what was all going on, where this money's going, that money's going. And the reason why I had got out of that company is because my reps that were under me were not being fed what they needed to be fed, and I was getting a conviction of making money off of them when sometimes they wouldn't make anything, but I still would. And all my upper hands would.
Yeah.
So I had to switch them to another company, and I did. I said, you know what? I want you guys to eat. And it's crazy because the company that I switched them over to, they had a little. So that other company is, I guess, a slogan you can say, and their thing is everybody eats. EBE. That's their region like name. Everybody eats. And that was very interesting to me. I was like, in my mind, I'm taking these guys out of this company because they're not eating. And then this group of people over here, their region, they have that as their little slogan, like everybody eats here. From the top to the bottom, everybody's going to be well fed. And doing the best that we can, obviously, for the customer in mind. That's the biggest thing. 100%. Because when it sells, people think it's just the sales rep. That's why a lot of people are like, I don't trust any sales reps. I don't trust them because they're just trying to make their own money and get out of there, right? But when you have that interest of the customer in mind, that's the most important. 100%. And then being fed at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a tough word out here. Like, I've been in sales since 2015 was the first time I stepped foot into sales with zero sales experience, right? And yeah, we get a bad rap for the most part in the industry that we might be in to prospects or whatever. But I'm starting to notice that most of the time, like when I speak to potential clients, I really focus on the delivery because it's true. Like, this is who I am. I've had clients where I'm talking to them about potential, I'm here. What do you need? They tell me, I want this, right? That's not so much of a sell, but I come off and I'm sincere about that. I care about them because there have been times where I can make more money off of one person, but I tell them, look, we can give you that, no problem. But honestly, it's like, you don't really need that because you have this, and this is going to take care of that. So we can go that route if you want, or we can save you $1,000 there without having to provide you that service, right? Most people would have been like, okay, boom, like he wants all this, sign it, And every time I speak to a potential client, like, I really focus on that delivery of like, hey, I'm here to help. I'm sincere. I want you to be successful. with only the things that you need. Okay, now let's talk. Where are you hurting? What do you need? And how can we help? And they'll tell me, right? And I really focus on the delivery, though. I feel like sometimes there might be people out there who do come off as, hey, we got this. You should get this. You should get that. It's like, listen first. What do they need? Listen to the pain points. What solutions do you have for those pain points, right? Once you have agreed to the solutions, now start narrowing down if we actually need all those solutions. And if you do, then sign it there. And if you don't, then where can we take off more pain points, from, any prices that you might be offering your solutions for, to help out the customer more. A prime example, actually, just Friday or Thursday, I closed a deal. So I do digital marketing services, but for the accounting industry, we focus a lot on the CPA, accounting firms, right? Which I had no idea that there was a market for, but there's a market for. Like, these CPAs work hard and they deal with numbers all day, and they're doing people's taxes, bookkeeping, yada, yada. But they need help running a business, right? So that's where we come in. And I remember I had a sale on Thursday and it went phenomenal. I was on the phone for like an hour, and I did have to really manage the conversation to figure out his pain points, because they're not always going to come out and tell you, hey, this is the problem, this is what I need. Sometimes you have to find that in the conversation. And so we came to an agreement of the solutions, and I messaged my manager. I was like, I had to ask her some questions. I forgot what I said, but she's like, yeah, go ahead and do that. And I was like, look, you know what? I was like, actually, I'm going to hold off on that for the most part, because I know that this solution is going to work for him. And when it does, in 30 to 60 days, like, I see him coming back to, upgrading services or to add more additional services to his thing. So he's like, and also in 30 to 60 days, that commission no longer comes to me. It goes to the account advisor, right? So I know that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, if we're here to get clients and keep clients, then the long-term strategy here is to just provide him what he needs for right now. Let him realize that it works, and then let him start wondering what it is that he can add to his services, right? So yeah, man, that's I think putting the customer first is always the right answer. Yeah. It's like, sometimes when I talk to people who are like, no, I'm like, really? Like, how do you get that? How do you become successful unless you put the customer first? That's right.
Yeah, that works hand in hand with solar. Yeah. When we do solar, an actual project for a homeowner, and the reason why is because, yes, you can go in there and just show numbers, boom, 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 right? But there's a lot of questions that have to be asked. Yeah. Something that me and my team have done very well, I believe, that is when we go into a home, we analyze the home, and we ask the questions about, their AC unit, their insulation, because they're obviously producing a number of kilowatts for a reason. Let's say their house is brand new. It's brand new. It's good. The insulation should be good. AC unit should be good. But let's say I got you a system that's going to produce the amount of kilowatts that you guys used in a whole year last year, right? But their AC is really bad. They need to upgrade it. They need to get better insulation done, and they know those things. So if I give them a project and I lock them in for 20 years or 25 years, and yet they're going to go get a new AC unit, or they're going to put insulation, they didn't need that amount of solar panels. Okay, because then their kilowatts is going to be much less. Right. So those questions have to be asked right away. And, I got to tell them, I said, do you guys have this plan to do? Okay. So that way, if you guys were going to make this decision to get a new AC unit, bring down those kilowatts, or better insulation, I can give you less solar panels, and you can be locked in for the next 25 years. That shows that you really care about the customer and giving them exactly what they need.
Instead of putting them at risk where you're offering them a project based on what they have right now and not caring if they're going to change out the AC, their insulation, which could have resulted in them having less solar panels. Right. 100%. That's cool, man. That's awesome, man. I mean, like I said, I'm 2 months in. I enjoy the work a lot. The schedule's good. It's just, doing the coaching afterwards where and then trying to work out still, right? Trying to find the time to bring people on, and I think it's unfortunately I was at one point where I think I did 3 people in 1 week, which was pretty cool. But I think now it's gonna have to be like one time a week, which is fine with me. Like an episode a week is, believe it or not, for the length of them is pretty good. Cause I still have to edit the video and do all that myself. Right. So, this is the question I was gonna ask you earlier. If I have wait, let me ask you this question before I say that question. Okay. And be honest about this question. Okay. I won't tell Grecia, right? No, honestly, I was just gonna say, what did you think about her episode? Like when she was on here, like what did you think about her episode? Did you listen to it?
Oh yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think about it? Just briefly.
We actually watched it on her TV.
Okay.
We saw it on her TV. Yeah, it was good. Knowing that she was gonna come out on a podcast, as her husband, I'm thinking like, what she's gonna say, what's gonna come out of her, things like that. Because like I said, I care about the things that come out of us or what we post.
Like how you're represented.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Sure. And because there's times we're gonna speak our mind, and that's okay, right? But I'm very careful about the things I say, and I've always been that way. I feel because of my son. Yeah. Like let's say we get into an argument or something like that, and me and my wife, for whatever reason, because that's normal, even though it doesn't happen that much. Mm-hmm. That's the honest truth. But I'm very selective with my words. My son's 8 years old. He is advanced. Like he's so smart. He really is. And so I'm very careful in the things I say. And so when I knew Gracia was gonna be on the show, I was like, man, I wonder what she's gonna say.
Did you get nervous a little bit?
Not too nervous. Yeah. But I know she's gonna speak her mind.
Yeah.
She's proud of what she's become and who she is, and I was very glad on the things she talked about and spoke about, and spoke highly of me, things like that.
She had to.
Yeah. No. The good thing about Grecia is the people that know her, that have known her for a long time or that worked with her, know that she has a very good work ethic, but she's not a boastful, but she's proud of who she is, and she's very driven, mm-hmm. And people have asked like, how are you? You're the one that wears the pants, right? Even though you're the small, wife, but you're the one that's the bold one and this and that. Is well, not exactly. When it comes to like, for example, she used to work in a supplement store, and guys would go in there and stuff like that, and she would tell me like, she calls him bro. She calls him like that, because she's always been like that with her brother, But she knows her place as a wife. She gives me the respect. She kind of, treats me as a king, and she understands that I'm the head of the household. Biblically, she holds that standard. Where she treats me with all the respect that I can be given. So we have a very good relationship when it comes to that. So, but yeah.
And just because I think that's awesome, and I think I mentioned that to Grecia. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Because there's a difference, right? Like, I guess people like there could be couples that mention that because that's what's agreed upon, but to feel it,
right,
is the confirmation and the difference between just agreeing on it but actually feeling it, right?
Right.
So that's awesome. I was curious, and I don't know if I asked Grecia on the podcast. I don't think I did, because I was speaking to her about her, side of the story. But to hear you say that you feel it, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't think she understands the extent of what she does for me, or how she makes me feel inside. I don't express too much, like my feelings and stuff, but like her work ethic, the things that she does, and the way she does things for me and my son and our family, like, it's crazy. Like I see it, everything and I'm very, very appreciative of everything that she does. And that's another reason why I train the way I train in the gym, because if I'm focused on doing that and becoming something, it's for her. Because as hard as I've ever worked, I feel like she's worked just as hard, if not more harder than I've ever worked. And it's for me and it's for my son. And I highly respect that from her, and I love that about her, So if I had to say, what really drives me and motivates me, other than, God leading the way, is my wife. My wife really, really motivates me to be the best that I can be as a husband and a father.
That's awesome, man. You don't hear that many stories like that nowadays. I mean, the world's changing, the times changing, and just because the world changes and times changes doesn't mean that the concept of a relationship or marriage has to change. But yeah, you don't hear that type of take on a relationship too much nowadays. So that's incredible to hear that, because I think that's a beautiful one there.
Yeah.
This was the question. Do you, if I hear correctly, if I've done my research correctly, maybe not. I don't know. Do you or are you a big fan of crumble cookie?
Oh, man. You got to ask me that while I'm on prep, man. The crazy thing is, check it out. I'm a guy that I watch like food on Instagram. My wife does it too, but I'll sit there when I'm bored and I'm just looking at food. I'm looking at food and stuff like that. When I'm eating my meals, my healthy meals, my meal preps and all that stuff, literally what I watch on TV and YouTube is food. Yeah. I'm watching people eat pizza and stuff like that, and I'm watching crumble cookie reviews. Yeah. That's what I'm watching, Man, I'm a big fan of crumble cookie. Oh man, it's so good. I know there's a lot of good cookies out there, but their chocolate chip cookie and I hold Chick-fil-A's chocolate chip cookie
they're pretty good too.
High. Those are good. But crumble cookies, chocolate chip cookie, man. Oh man, yeah. I got sick. Whoa. No, I won't say too much. I was gonna say when I'm competing, not everybody knows when I'm competing, but it's a thing about, just to say real quick, it's a thing about competition is some people not want you to know, or some people want to know when you're gonna compete, but as a competitor, you want it to be kind of a surprise, But I was gonna say when, and that's when I'll get to have my crumble cookies, So yeah, answer that question. I'm a big fan.
The reason I ask is 'cause first of all, I am too. I had so much where I had to really put a lot of self-control, right? There was at one point where we had me and my fiance just discovered crumble cookie, and we went and we had a cookie, and it was what? That was the best cookie I ever had in my life. I was okay. Yeah. So then I started realizing that obviously every week the menu would change, right? So it's just option after option. I was and one time we went and we had we got 2 boxes of 4s, right? 2 because they come with 4, and then it's 2 boxes. And at that point, I had no interest in checking the nutritional facts or the macros, right? And I remember I did a whole box by myself, right? And apparently, obviously, depending on the cookie, you're looking at a whole cookie, easy 500 to 600 calories.
That's right.
And I remember when I finished the whole box, I felt a little sick, but it was delicious, right? And I was like, man, let me check the nutritional facts, because there's no way that this big cookie, this sweet cookie, is anything less than minimum 350 calories. So I was like, let me check. And then some of them had 700, and I was like, I just finished 4 cookies. I was like, that's almost 2,500 calories just right there, depending. Now, but the reason I ask is because one time there was a Saturday, and it was pretty packed. Crumble cookie was pretty packed, and I was going to my fiance's house, and she's like, hey, pick up some crumble cookies. I said, no problem. I was like, I'll do that. You don't got to tell me twice. So I went, and then I remember I saw you and Grecia there. Hey, but you were in line, and I was in line for I think it was 30 minutes, man. Yeah. It was pretty packed. But at that time, I didn't know who Grecia was. I didn't know who you were either, but I had seen you at the gym already a couple of times. And then whenever I find out, you know, who Grecia was, and then who you were, and then obviously I made the connection. And then I realized that you like crumble cookie, like, you know, that much. I was like, that was so funny because we both waited in line like 30 minutes just for a cookie.
Oh, yeah. It was worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it.
It's always worth it.
And the crazy thing is, we probably had 2 cookies each. And we probably just got finished eating sushi.
Okay.
Yeah. So we would do that. It would be basically our cheat meal.
Yeah.
If it was approved from our coach, you know, go ahead and have a cheat meal, eat sushi. Or for me, sometimes it's steak and fries, you know, even though he didn't know nothing about the cookies, you know, but I know my coach, like he expects like, okay, you're probably not just going to have just what I tell you, you know, but, you know, if he sees this, he's going to know like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's
Yeah.
all right. That was back then. Prep is different. We
Yeah.
can't have any of that after prep. You know, then we can balance that back into our diet.
You ever see yourself doing like cookie crumb reviews?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah?
We do. You know, we made a YouTube, so we have an intro video. We just haven't had the time we knew we wanted to start one.
Yeah.
We just haven't had the time to like put it together and really do it, document, you know, our daily life or to the gym.
Kind of like
vlogging
Okay.
or cooking.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that's a big thing is that a lot of people, you know, want to get into getting in shape and that lifestyle. And a lot of people understand that it is a lifestyle, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's not just a quick fix and getting in shape and then it doesn't happen overnight. So that lifestyle is how to make it easier, you know, with making your healthy food taste good, you know, and I've been doing it for so long. Like, I feel like I'm a perfectionist at chicken, or whatever it is I eat, you know, fish, any type of proteins that you're cooking. Like, you know, I feel that I get down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But it's basically on healthy foods.
Of course.
Like my brother, he likes to smoke, you know, barbecue and all that stuff. You know, he does all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So we have that taste for cooking and stuff like that. But me, it's like I've never experimented with cooking like all different types of foods or different types of meats, different types of steaks, but mostly like healthy foods.
Yeah.
You know, and how to make that taste good. So I feel like if I were to make videos like that, people would be like, oh man, like that's how you do it. It's simple and it tastes great, and now I can enjoy this healthy lifestyle. That's why we want to come out with more videos and stuff like that. And then also do like reviews and stuff like that of when we're in the off season. It's like, yes.
Cool. That'd be cool to see, like, you know, a bodybuilding couple, you know, off season enjoy, you know, some of their favorite things, you know. I don't know. I mean, granted, I don't watch too many like bodybuilding like YouTube channels, but that'd be interesting to see, like, you know, successful bodybuilders, you know, that maybe have clients as well and train people. They're very well-rounded and knowledgeable, like on the healthy food aspects and different variations to make it easier to have that lifestyle. But then, like, every once in a while, have like a video or like, you know, a couple of days or where they're enjoying like a cookie, sushi, and having some fun. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
The only crazy thing is that because of competition, it gets so serious when we start dieting and prepping. You know, when you start eating stuff like that, and it becomes like, maybe let's say a cookie, we'll do sushi, or we'll have some kind of cheat meal where it's not too bad. Let's just say sirloin steak and fries. People are like, or sirloin steak and potato. It's still kind of healthy, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
So when we eat, it serves a purpose. A cheat meal is not a cheat day; it's a cheat meal, right? And it's got those amount of calories are going to serve a purpose in filling me up the rest of that week when I'm training in the gym. So it's a tool, not just something to enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, but when it comes to the cookies and the sweets and stuff like that, it's almost as if when we eat it, we'll start craving it.
Yeah.
The rest of the week.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man, like we want to look forward to it, and then if our coach says no, don't have a cheat meal or something like that, it bothers us. But if we go a long streak without it, we're good.
Yeah.
And we're determined, and we're on a mission,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
So, but here and there, I mean, it's okay, and it's something that we kind of want to balance out. Like, to show people that, hey, it doesn't have to be just so like
Exactly.
strict and stuff like that. There can be a balance.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, we look forward to that.
Cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Well, trying to think. You got anything you want to share? Like, before we wrap it up, anything that you got that you might be doing? I mean, I know you mentioned, personal training. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw Grecia I think she put something recently about offering training.
Yeah. So what she's doing right now is, I think it's really, really awesome. Right now, she's offering like a hit cardio. So you'll notice with a lot of people, it's common that work gets in the way of going to the gym and stuff like that. I really don't like the people that say, there's no excuse, and stuff like that. Some people have families. They have families, they have a job, they have all those things. And coming from on the other side of bodybuilding, being a competitor, I still understand those things. For a lot of people that they cannot fit that time to go to the gym, to have the time to cook and prep all that food. It becomes very hard based on their jobs. But something like hit cardio that can be done in 30 to 45 minutes, and you gotta know what you're doing to come up with a really good high intensity interval training type cardio that you'll see results from, right? And Grecia's really good at that, So she's offering that right now. She's been posting a program for that, and it's crazy because I see her and I kind of like tell her like, hey, don't get involved in it too much, because she already has her type of cardio for the competition. I don't want her doing too much extra,
Right.
And I'm real critical about those things. I want things done exactly the way we're supposed to do them. When we have a plan from our coach, the amount of cardio, the amount of calories, or whatever the macronutrients of the meal plan, very strict on it. I'm not going to do anything more than what my coach tells me to, anything less. Exactly what, because that's the accountability right there, why he does what he does. So I'm like, don't do too much. You got to teach the class. She's going to teach the class. But yeah, Grecia, she's doing really well. And like I said, it motivates me to do good as well in what we're doing, So it's only going to get better.
Yeah. That's good, man. I'm rooting for you guys, man. That's a good setup that you guys got. And obviously, wishing you guys the most and quality success that you guys are looking for. So
Thank you.
Good, man. I think if there's nothing else, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Man, thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it. This is the 23rd episode. I'll tell you what, when I started, I was like, there's no way I'll get the 23. I'm at 23, man. And then now, things are making more sense. 50 seems more doable. I know when I get to 50, 100 seems more doable. But I enjoy these podcasts so much, man. And just, hearing your story as well. And, the things that you shared, and, being able to relate to some of those things as well is also the cool part about being on this side of the table, Right. So, yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Guys, this is, again, episode 23 of the podcast. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I know there's quite a bit of you guys that reach out to me telling me that you enjoyed, certain episodes, and some of you guys that tell me that you listened to all the episodes. To those people, to everybody, to anyone, thank you all so much. Until next time. See you.